It's the end of another month, and all of the popular funds have now declared the amounts for their June distributions. This is maybe the start of a new series if people are interested in seeing this kind of update. So let me know below in the comments section, or by liking the video if you want to see this kind of video again. And also don't forget to subscribe, as the goal for this year is to reach 5,000 subscribers. And with that, let's now get into the distribution announcements. Starting off, we have Purpose Investments, and it looks like there hasn't been any changes for this month. Typically, they are quite consistent with their distributions, so it's not a surprise to see this, especially after already going through quite a few raises in the past few months. I'll scroll down the list here so you can still see all of them just in case. Moving on to Evolve ETFs, there's some good news when it comes to their Canadian sector-based ETFs in Oily and Bank. Both of these, along with their base ETF, have increases for this month. In the 1 month, Oily has increased by 11.33% in price appreciation, and in the last 6 months has actually increased by 24.29%. Keep in mind for these charts, they don't include the distributions that have also been paid out, so the total returns are actually going to be higher than what is shown here. But this is to get a quick idea of how the ETF has performed, and an indication as to why there might be a distribution increase. For Bank, in the 1 month, it has increased in price by 6.05%. And in the last 6 months, it has actually increased by 17.01%. Both of these sectors of the Canadian economy have done very well in the past year, and have continued to outperform the S&P 500 index this year. And within the underlying holdings, there are a lot of dividend stocks with increasing dividends each year. So this also helps to support and increase the distributions each year over time. As for decreases, these are all in their cash or high interest savings ETFs. Scrolling down for their other distributions, we can also see at the bottom their semi-monthly or ultra-yield ETFs. Evolve is known for their consistent distributions with no decreases, so seeing no changes here is a good thing. Now next we have Harvest ETFs, and there isn't much going on here for this month. The only 2 changes here look to be in their bond ETFs, which have gone down with the increase in treasury yields and inflation fears. Scrolling down, you can see the other distribution amounts that have stayed steady, and that also includes their 2 semi-monthly ETFs in HPYB and HPYE. Both of these have continued to remain steady since their launch at the start of the year in January. These use a unique active covered call strategy that utilizes both calls and puts to lower the overall volatility and increase overall growth. The next tab, we have the Harvest High Income Shares ETFs, and there's going to be quite a few to go through. Starting with the increases, we have it separated into sections for the US and Canadian ETFs. On the US side, we have CrowdStrike, AMD, Broadcom, and Apple all seeing distribution increases. For these single stock ETFs, you should look at the underlying stocks to get a sense of its performance. With CrowdStrike, in the 1 month, the stock price has increased 48.05%. Then for AMD, in the 1 month, it has gone up 34.42%. This is quite the jump, but if we go out further on the 6 month, you can see AMD's stock price has increased 117.40% over this time. A lot of this is due to the rising shift of focus and demand from GPUs to CPUs for agentic AI workloads. Then for Broadcom, in the 1 month, it's actually gone down negative 2.04%. But going out further, we can see that over the past 6 months, it has increased 9.57%. If you measure it from the very bottom, it's actually been a 41.15% recovery, so you can see it's done quite well in this time. For Apple, this has been one that has crept back to its all-time highs. In the past month, it has increased by 13.93% and is still sitting at its highs. Then going to the Canadian side of things, we have TD, CNQ, and Suncor with increases. Like I had mentioned earlier, the Canadian banking and oil sectors have done very well and continue to perform this year. Taking a broader look out on the 6 month, TD has increased 32.54% over this time. For CNQ, it has increased 44.66% over the same time period. Then, for Suncor, it has increased 48.95%. So overall, these have been strong performers, and explains the increases in distributions. Now for the not so good part are the decreases. On the US side, we have SoFi, Palantir, and Robinhood, all with decreases this month. All of these year to date have been among the worst performers, and have been detractors to the overall performance of HHIS. Over the past month, SoFi has seen a 15.29% decrease, and then a 42.99% decrease over the last 6 months. With Palantir, it's pulled back slightly at negative 4.34% over the past month. And then over the last 6 months, it's been a negative 15.64% decline. Then for Robinhood, it has gone down negative 13.07% over the past month. Going further out, it has lost negative 35.95% in the past 6 months. In Canada, we have Shopify and Agnico Eagle Mines, both with decreases this month. Over the past month, Shopify has seen a sharp decline after its earnings, with a negative 18.14% decline. And this has actually been down for the past little while, with the 6 month showing negative 33.68%. For Agnico Eagle, it dropped 11.14% in the past 1 month. But zooming further out, there was a drop starting in March, which coincides with the beginning of the Iran war. Taking the performance from the top, it has been a negative 28.96% decline since then. A lot of this can be attributed to the drop in the price of gold as a result of the conflict. Scrolling down, you can see the rest of the unchanged distributions. Moving on to the next tab, we get to the distributions from Hamilton ETFs. Here we have CMAX, SMAX, HYLD, and HDIV with increases. I'm not going to go through all the yield maximizer ones individually, as these typically all have small increases or decreases each month. But for CMAX and SMAX, seeing increases to these is usually a good thing, because both of these are the largest holdings within HYLD. And speaking of HYLD, along with HDIV, this raise is actually the second month in a row they've increased the distribution for these two. So congratulations to those who continue to hold some of these OG ETFs since their launch. And I've been meaning to do an update video, but HYLD is actually outperforming all the S&P 500 indexes year to date. Just keep in mind that HYLD isn't an exact comparison to the index, but is meant to be broadly similar to it in terms of holdings. I've made a video as to why I ended up selling out of URCC for HYLD, which you can watch next after this if you're interested in learning more. Then this announcement also comes with the initial distribution amounts for their newly launched CMAX and IMAX, so we can now finally see what their individual yields will be. For CMAX, at the time of recording, it is an approximate 10.88% yield. Then for IMAX, at the time of recording, it is an approximate 9.80% yield. Scrolling down, you can see the rest of the distributions that held steady. Then at the bottom are the semi-monthly distributions. Here we have some nice increases for both Q-Day and C-Day, and then with S-Day staying at the same amount. Q-Day has done very well during the recovery in the past month, with it increasing 15.58% in price appreciation. It looks like the switch from XLK to their own QMVP has been doing quite well so far. Then for C-Day, it has increased slightly at 2.08% over the past month. And while we're looking at the DayMax ETFs, Hamilton actually had a surprise announcement to go with the distributions. In a separate news release, they also announced that they filed a preliminary prospectus for the launch of a Bitcoin DayMax ETF to join their lineup. This is their first crypto-related offering and will be under the ticker BDAY. If you're already a fan of their other DayMax ETFs, I'm sure you'll also find this one just as interesting, because it'll be following the same strategy of holding 100% of the underlying and then using the 25% leverage portion for 0 DTE options. No other details have been released as part of the announcement, so we'll just have to wait a bit longer to find out the distribution and yield. Going back up to the top, we get to the final section for Global X's distributions. There isn't anything of significant interest in terms of the increases and decreases this month, as all of them are related to treasuries and high interest savings accounts. But what we do get are the initial distributions for all their newly released commodity ETFs, like CMCC, SVCC, and URCC. For CMCC, At the time of recording, it will be an approximate 11.48% yield. With SVCC, at the time of recording, it will be an approximate 12.72% yield. Then for URCC, at the time of recording, it will be an approximate 14.27% yield. Scrolling down, you can see some of their other distributions. And at the very bottom, we have two more new ETFs in the semi-monthly section. Here we have CMCL and SVCL. For CMCL, at the time of recording, will be an approximate 14.80% yield. And SVCL, at the time of recording, will be an approximate 17.68% yield. CMCL has been an interesting one, and finally fills in the interest for an all-in-one commodity ETF that many investors have been asking for. If you're interested in learning more, you can read their feature sheet PDF that is listed on the fund's documents page. And with that, we finally reached the end of all the announcements. Let me know if this was helpful, and again, feel free to subscribe if you want me to continue making these again for next month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.